Hey, Pro Advisors, this is Jacqueline, and welcome to In the Know. We are so happy to have you here. Heads up that the program has officially started, so please, if you can't hear us, make sure that your audio is up and that you're not mistakenly muted. And you can download the handout now. All right, in case we haven't met, I'm Jacqueline, and I lead Pro Advisor training and certification. I've recently joined as the new host of In the Know, and it is an absolute honor and delight to get to spend this time with you today. So let's take a quick look at the agenda. We'll start the program with some bulletin board announcements about upcoming things you can mark on your calendar. Then we'll move into the meat of the program, which is unpacking 3 exciting product innovations. So today we'll be exploring updates to inventory variants. We'll look at an org chart update, and then we'll move on to shipping labels. And then we'll round out the program with some resources for you and your team. So the joy of being on In the Know is getting to interact with you. To do that, you can shoot our team questions through using the Q&A. Maybe start by telling us where you're calling in or dialing in from. We've got a big team behind the scenes to answer your questions. That said, there's quite a few of you and only a handful of us, so please just show a bit of grace and patience as we answer as many questions as we can, although we won't be able to get to all of them. If you have any specific questions about things going on with your clients or within your firm, those can be directed to care, and the number is there on the screen. All right, so I know some of you here are getting your learning in for CPE credits. So in order to receive your CPE credit, you'll need to be here for at least 50 minutes. And during that time, answer at least one of the polling questions. We'll have quite a few. That way you have ample opportunity to get that in. And if those requirements are met, we'll shoot you the CPE certificate within a few days. Pro tip would be to make sure you have accountant_training at intuit.com sort of earmarked in your inbox, so that way it goes to the right folder. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our bulletin board announcements. First up is that QuickBooks Online has partnered with Figured to host a webinar called How to Design Advisory Services. You can catch this on July 23rd at 11. This is great for those of you who work with agricultural clients and are looking to take your advisory practice a step further. So please do join us on that. Next up is we're thrilled to share the PayPal connector by QuickBooks. This is going to replace the Connect to PayPal. You can now find the PayPal connector available in the beta version on the QuickBooks App Store, and it'll be launching later this summer. So more details here. And the last bulletin announcement, very near and dear to my heart, is Ignition is presenting the Women in Accounting Awards. Hopefully you've heard of this by now. It's been all over social. Nominations are open until August 2nd. So you can nominate yourself, you can nominate your peers, your managers, people who work for you, really anyone. Once you nominate them, they receive an email saying that they've been nominated and they're invited to apply. Whether they win or not, just receiving a nomination can really make someone's day and help build their confidence. It only takes a second to do, so I strongly encourage you to recognize an incredible woman within your community or at your firm by nominating her today. I happen to be a judge on the program and very much look forward to engaging with stories from the community. All right, so with that said, we're moving into product innovations, and I'm thrilled to invite Keith onto the show to talk to us about inventory variants. So Keith, over to you. I'll let you share your screen and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The inventory updates. So my name is Keith, Senior Product Manager on the QuickBooks team, looking at everything that is commerce related, inventory management being one of them. So first we wanted to start with a bit of a poll. So we'll pull up the poll here in a minute, but wanted to figure out what are the biggest challenges that you face with clients who are product-based businesses. And product-based, think of anyone that sells a physical, tangible good, typically managing inventory. So wanted to get an idea of what are those biggest challenges. Number one being getting a single source of truth for their products and their inventory. Number two is sales order management, managing the actual orders they get for these products. Number three is inventory valuation and management of their inventory. Number four being reporting and insights. And then number five, totally get it. It's not applicable if you don't deal with anyone who manages inventory and you don't have clients that deal with products.
All right, Keith, as folks answer the question, I know you live and breathe inventory. So are there any insights that you might be able to share with the Pro Advisor community based on the research and conversations that you and your team have done?
Yeah, I think like a few of the things that we've learned in the last couple of years building these out is that inventory is a daunting task. And I think the biggest challenge that we've seen and what takes people away from necessarily taking on clients with inventory is really that getting that source of truth. And so what I've learned is that the biggest kind of challenge is getting clean data, and whether that be getting a source for where you actually store all your products and you have all your information and it's across multiple spreadsheets and different systems. And then number two, getting a single source for how much inventory they actually have. There's a lot of small businesses that it's just in their head, or they have to go out to actually see what they have on hand. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is just getting clients to really organize and get their data clean. And once you have clean data and you have it organized, it gets a lot easier to actually manage. But typically I've found that becomes the biggest hurdle, is that initial setup and cleaning up data.
Makes sense. Well, it looks like we have our poll answers in if you want to share what you're seeing.
Okay, perfect. So we have the poll here, and it looks like it is a little bit of a split. So it looks like inventory valuation management is the clear number one. Those that don't deal with inventory is number two, which makes sense. And then getting that single source of truth for products and inventory would be the second one. But it looks here like inventory valuation and management seems to be the top challenge. So that's good to hear. And I think that is a lot of the things that we're also focused on. Awesome. So to give everyone a little bit of an understanding of what we've done. So in the past few years, we've really heard again and again that QBO is not meeting the needs of these product-based businesses. It doesn't have deep inventory functionality, and it's just lacking a lot of those basic features that businesses found in other software or in desktop. And so what we've done is reinvented the product and services. So you will notice that product and services has a bit of a new look and a new feel. Along with that, there's inventory features that back up the actual product and services to improve all of these. And so some of the key things that we've launched is the introduction of variants. I'll go into a bit more detail exactly what that is, but you can think of it as having a parent and child relationship. And so you sell products, you may need to understand that not all products are just one. There may be size and color variations, and that's what you would actually carry the inventory for. And then number two, which we've introduced, is a new functionality for inventory counts. And so if you're doing a cycle count and you're actually going out to a warehouse, you need that tool that you can recount all your inventory and make those big bulk adjustments of what you physically have on hand versus what's recorded in a system. Number two, along with these comes benefits that are really layering on top of other features that we already had. One of the biggest one is importing your products and your inventory. There's two ways to do this. You can either do it from connecting a sales channel and you can bring in all your products, all your inventory information, or there is, you can do it in bulk CSV format. And really the whole goal of this is to accurately track COGS. And so by bringing in all your inventory from the sales channels that these customers sell on, they get clean set of data, and then they can start managing their COGS in QuickBooks. So a few of the facts on who this is available. So inventory is a feature that's available on Plus and Advanced. You can access this via two different ways. You'll either go directly to the product and services page, which some of your clients you will notice is now front and center as a main menu item on the left-hand navigation. Depending on that business and the industry and what type of business they are, they will either see it as a main menu item or they would see it traditionally underneath the sales tab, underneath product and services. So this has been live since September 2023. It's been in a phased rollout. So slowly we've been migrating more and more cohorts of customers. And then it will be fully widely available in the summer of 2024. This is just across the US for now. Okay, and to go a bit deeper on these features. So as I talked through, product and services has been reimagined. And so we've released a updated version of what the product and services page does. And the main thing and the main key difference is an introduction of not just a standard flat product, but an introduction of variants. So a couple things that you can see here on the screen on the left. It provides visibility of the product, and then you'll see kind of in the gray, these are variants of that product. So if you're selling a water bottle, you may have two different sizes of that same product. So it gives you the ability to see a consolidation of the overall product itself, and that would contain the product category, the information of the type of product it is. But then when you want to break down the actual individual variants that carry a SKU, that's where you're going to have the quantity that's on hand, the price, the cost. That's all broken down at the individual SKU level. This also now gives you the ability to import and manage the products and the variants, either via bulk upload, or you can do it by connecting a sales channel and importing your data that way, or you can just do it in QBO and create the products and the variants there. And then you'll see at the top of the page that there are some key actions that this customer needs to do. So we will notify you when there's products that are out of stock, products that are low in stock and need to be reordered. And both of those, you can filter down your products and then convert into a purchase order to replenish from your vendors. So it simplifies and gives an easy way to understand what's low, what needs to be reordered, and then convert that into the document to actually purchase and get that product in. Second thing that we have released here is the live tracking of sales orders along with that product catalog. You can also see the order itself, the fulfillment, the refunds, and ultimately the payout of the money then hitting your bank account. So these updates have been here for a while, and this is really an enhancement on the sales order functionality. So it'll provide you real-time tracking of the sales order for multiple different sales channels. So you can see on the screen here, there's orders that came in from Shopify, there's orders that came in from Amazon, different orders that come in from these different channels, the payment status, the order status, whether it's been fulfilled. You can automatically import the whole product catalog from all of these channels. And then we give you tools to make sure that if you have a product sold on Shopify and that same product is sold on Etsy and on Amazon, you can link and manage all those products to a single product in QBO. So you're not duplicating your catalog, you're consolidating and making one single catalog inside of QBO. As these sales are imported, they are going to be creating invoices. So as invoices are created, they will contain the individual line item. And then if you've updated your cost and you have your quantity, you will then be tracking your cost of goods sold along with all these items. So as sales are created, they'll be imported individually, created as an invoice. And then as that order is updated and fulfilled, we'll get that fulfillment status to track what quantity is currently on sales order, and that would be yet to be fulfilled, and what's available to sell. So inside of QBO, you'll have multiple different statuses for your inventory. So you will have the total quantity that's on hand. which is what everyone is probably most likely used to. But two new statuses of your inventory, you'll have what the quantity is on a sales order and what's available to sell. The payments are also going to be imported. So to close out that invoice and to close out any of the AR, payments are imported to mark those as paid. And that's also broken down by the payment gateway. So each of the different gateways that are supported across these different channels will be broken out into their own clearing account. So you can organize the Shopify payments from PayPal, from cash or manual transactions, and they will go into a separated clearing account in that payment transaction. And then the final feature in the inventory set is a new transaction called inventory count. So inventory counts is something that you will be able to find as a way to get your clients to do any sort of monthly, yearly, quarterly, whatever sort of frequency they have of an actual cycle count of all of their products. So you can name these records and quickly perform a count against either a selection of products, or they might want to do their entire product catalog and go through and physically count every single product in the warehouse. This will then give them real-time update of either that selection of products or all their products that they're counting. And you'll see here on the left-hand side, it'll show you what the quantity on hand was, what the new quantity is of what they've just counted, and then what that change to be reflected is. Inventory counts are a workflow, so they can save and close the count to continue later, or they may want to complete it. So it's not something that you have to do in one go. It may take you 2-3 days to do a full count of your warehouse. And so you may have a progressive inventory count that you can save and come back to later and then complete, and it will adjust all the inventory levels. Awesome. And with that, I think we will go to the Q&A.
Yeah, let's do it. Keith, lots of excitement in the Q&A, and William actually gave you a shout out. Looks like you two ran into each other at Connect last year when you were doing a demo of some of this. So just awesome to see that you've taken the community's feedback and that it's being reflected here. A few questions that have come through. When will this be available in Canada? Any plans there that you can share?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think we will have to stay tuned longer. But one of the things we would love to do, if that particular person has clients in Canada, we'd love to start talking to them to understand what the needs would be that are different than what we've rolled out in the US, what would need to change to roll this out in Canada. So to prompt everyone, a few things. We know that Canadian merchants typically are going to have transactions that are in multi-currency, USD and CAD. Some of those complexities are different than what we found in the US. So would love to talk more if we can reach out to that person who asked that question. We'd love to start exploring some of those options and talk to clients that deal with multi-currency.
If you are listening in and happen to be based in Canada and would care to sync with Keith, just throw us a note in the Q&A and we will provide Keith your email after the program so that way he can follow up with you. Okay, next question is, can you tell us a little bit more about the sales channels that are available? So we saw Shopify, but any others that you can call out?
Yeah, so we have a few new updates. The latest one that we've just launched is Etsy. So the main thing that's updated for the existing channels, Shopify, Amazon, and eBay, is the introduction of managing the inventory for those channels and bringing in the detailed information of products as invoices. Etsy, we've just started to roll out, and it will have all of those features as well. So Etsy's our newest channel. And then we are looking at others. So if there's others that are in high demand, we're going to start looking at those as well.
Okay, last question for you, Keith. You presented a lot of rich material here today. Is there a resource you can point folks to if they want to dive even deeper? Any knowledge-based articles or tutorials?
Yes. So I can share a few of the knowledge-based articles. I can share one that goes deep on inventory. products, variants, and all of those features, I will share that with you. The other one that we're working on is updating some of our video content to reflect the updates to the sales channels. So that's in the works, but will be released. And I'll share some of the knowledge base articles with everybody on the sales channel integrations and the updates there. One of the key things, if you have any clients that are currently using Shopify or Amazon and want to get the inventory features, we have some details on how you would enable that feature or upgrade them to get that feature available.
Fantastic. Well, Keith, thank you so much. I think we're getting 2 sessions with Keith in today. So he presented on inventory variants, and we'll welcome you back later for shipping labels. But for now, I'm thrilled to invite Annie on to talk about org chart updates. So Annie, if you could share your screen, perfect. It is over to you.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you, Keith and Jacqueline, for setting me up. But I hope everyone's doing really well today. And thanks for letting me step in to talk to you a little bit more about organizational charts in the world of HRIS. So just a little bit about me. I'm Annie. I'm also a product manager at QuickBooks, and I work on the mid-market space, focused specifically on workforce solutions and HRIS, which stands for Human Resource Information System. So really diving into kind of a different space within QuickBooks. So we'll jump into our exciting polls here. So I'll have 2 polls back to back, but I really want to understand, what is your role in helping your clients manage their human capital management needs? And what human capital management means is really hiring, team management, HR tools, benefits, etc. So yeah, select the one that applies to you the most. So some of the options here are that you handle this for your clients, you collaborate alongside your client in managing some of these tasks, you provide general support, just fielding general questions, you suggest external providers, or you don't offer any HCM support for your clients. So yeah, select the one that applies most to you.
Annie, I know in recent years, we've been seeing a trend of more and more advisors advising their clients on their human capital management needs. So any trends that you've seen that you might be able to share with the community?
Yeah, I think, when we think about like accountants specifically within that advisor segment, we think more about just like that money management piece. But I think as we've started to dive more into HCM and talk to more and more pro advisors and accountants, customers and their clients aren't limiting their questions only to, how to run the books, how to run certain things. So I think absolutely accountants and pro advisors are starting to have to field more and more questions as it pertains to human capital management. So super interested to see at this scale if people are really feeling that. So yeah.
Great. Well, I think we can wrap this poll and probably move to the next one whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So we're looking at the answers here. So very similar to what I said of, I do not offer HCM support being very common with advisors. But it seems like a little more than 50% of you, do have to step into this role and support your clients here. So we're starting to see this trend, especially with people, with growing clientele. So it's really interesting to see that. So thank you, everyone. We're going to hop into the second question here. So this is a little bit more pertinent to the organizational chart side of things. So when you think about an organizational chart, for your clients, who would you like included in an organizational, visual representation of a team? So feel free to check all that apply. So yeah, when you think about your clients' teams, do you think about employees, contractors, vendors, board members, and volunteers? So feel free to select all that apply. If all may apply, totally okay too.
Annie, when it comes to creating org charts, is there any best practice that you've seen?
Yeah, so we see various different best practices. Oftentimes, companies focus mainly on employees and sometimes contractors. But I think when it comes to the pro advisor segment, oftentimes that point of view scales more to a broader point of view. So really interested to see from not just a business owner point of view, but from a pro advisor, if it differs outside of that employee contractor segment.
Great. Well, should we see what the poll says?
Yeah, let's do it. Awesome. Yeah. So I think heavily employees, 91% of you included that, and kind of it tapers down as we go down the different options with, over 50% having contractors, some having vendors, and it lower a bit on board members and volunteers. So that's super, super helpful for us as we continue to improve our feature. So thanks for all those answers. So enough of the polls. I appreciate all that feedback, but let's get in and show you and tell you a little bit more what this feature is all about. So, at many companies and, even at big companies such as Intuit, employees can see who their team is, who reports to who. And this really enables us as employees to know how we fit into an organization and how we, can connect with other people on our teams, from, certain job titles or knowing, a skip level of whose manager is who. Like, I want to start to know that information to really make my work more efficient as an employee. So when we think about our clients at QuickBooks and our small businesses, as they continue to grow, we really want to support them in doing that and enabling them to have features that support their employees as their teams grow as well. So we really heard from small business owners and employers, with all the details that we have about their employees, they wanted a clear way to see who all their employees were and the structure of that team to, enable better connection, communication, and easier onboarding for new hires. So in order to support this, our new org chart feature in QuickBooks will really enable employers to manage their team's hierarchy, reporting structures, and really, see these details and share them directly with their employees in the QuickBooks Workforce experience, which is our employee portal that we can enable for our employees. So in order to make this experience possible, we added managers within the employee profile as a new field, as well as profile pictures to the employee profile to really help create this visualization. So I think with this group specifically as accountants and pro advisors, depending on how close you are to your client's human capital management purposes, the org chart is a really great feature to advise your clients to set up and enable for their teams in the workforce experience, so that all of their employees can stay up to date and really understand who's on their team and who reports to who. So when your clients are growing and you really want to advise them on, features that will help them as they're growing into that more mid-market segment, you can really use tools such as org chart to help them stay organized and provide, more tools to make them feel, that we're meeting their growing needs. So a couple fast facts around org chart is that this is available on all QuickBooks Online SKUs for US and Canada. And you're able to find this in the payroll experience within the employee tab, which I'll show you. And then this rolled out from January into early March. So everyone has access to this now. So enough chit chat. Let me jump into showing you how all of this actually works. So I'll give a really brief visual summary here, so don't look too closely at it, and then I'll jump into an actual production company and demo how it looks. So on the employer side of things, you can see here that there's a visual representation of who's on the team and how everyone, fits in and fits within that reporting structure and who's nested under who. There's also an opportunity to assign managers in bulk, especially when you first start using this feature. You can just assign all those managers right within the experience. And when you feel that this experience is accurate and really represents the organization accurately, we're able to actually turn it on for employees to view in their employee portal. So on the employee side, they see the exact same thing without a few bells and whistles. They can't edit it, but they are able to see the reporting structure and even see employees who, maybe don't fit within the reporting structure, but really still want to have that contact information and easy ways to contact each other and see who's on their team. And employees aren't able to see each other's entire profile, but they're able to, click the view button and be able to see a bigger profile picture and, be able to see phone details and emails and trigger email directly from within this. So really expanding the amount of access that employees have in their workforce portal and be able to connect with their teams and see more than just their own profile. So I'll jump in before getting into the Q&A into a test account. I'll make this just a tad bigger for everyone. So I showed this visually in the slide deck, but this is the employer side that you would see as a pro advisor. So again, you can go into this assign manager drawer and see that here, Nicholas Guan at the bottom of the screen has no manager assigned. So I'm going to go into this assign manager. And I'm going to sort and make sure I sort this alphabetically by employees. And I can see that Nicholas has no manager. And, I'm running Annie's apple orchard and pumpkin patch. And I see that Nicholas is a pumpkin picker. So I'm going to sort and find who Varun is the head of pumpkin picking. So I'm going to click Varun. And that's automatically going to save here. And I can in bulk make any other changes to the organizational structure with who people's managers are directly here, and click done. And so now Nick is now nested under Varun. So I'm able to see this direct reporting structure of myself, as the head of the apple orchard and pumpkin patch. And I have Varun reporting directly to me and Nicholas reporting directly to him. But I'm able to see all 5 of my direct reports who are nested under me, and then drill down specifically into any specific reporting structure within that. Once I'm confident in this, I'm able to click Show Org Chart and Workforce, and I'm able to unselect or reselect and decide exactly what I want my employees to see, and explicitly make the choice to include emails and phone numbers to make sure that you honor kind of what level of privacy your clients want with their employees, and I can apply that. And so that gets us back into, then your employees will be able to then view and have that experience on the left navigation screen of their experience. So that is a high level walkthrough. But again, this experience is live for all of your clients if they have QuickBooks Online Payroll within the employee tab. So feel free to check it out and get that set up for your clients. And it really will create awesome experiences for them and their employees. So I'll open it up now to the Q&A.
Thanks, Annie. Such a powerful feature. I know as an employee, I find myself using our internal org chart quite often to just understand, who's who and who reports to whom. So I'm sure this is very helpful for many small businesses. On the last thing you just said, would love for you to unpack that, which is, do folks need to have, or do their clients need to have a subscription through QuickBooks Online Payroll? Or if they're using a third-party payroll provider, can they access the org chart through their QBO subscription?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is only focused centralized within our QuickBooks Online Payroll. So you do have to have a subscription. It can be any of the core, premium, or elite SKUs. So it's not SKU dependent, but you do have to have QuickBooks Online Payroll in order to have this feature.
Got it. Okay, so available to all clients with QuickBooks Online Payroll. Now, a few more specific functionality questions that came through, which is, if there's someone who reports or has a role on different teams, can they be assigned to both teams?
Yeah, great question. So right now we have it only centralized to, you can only be assigned to one manager. So it's only one specific reporting structure. However, we're definitely looking at, being able to filter by departments and seeing if we can have multi-department, like focused and centralized details about an employee. So keep your eye on, we're really thinking about how we can expand it and focus on, more specific use cases for specific company needs where people might not just have one hierarchy. But right now we're focusing on just the one centralized hierarchy, but keep your eyes out. We're continuously iterating, and I'll check out who asked that question and potentially talk to you a little bit more about it.
Sounds good. Okay, last question, Annie. If an employer wanted to say, like, print this out or include a version of it in their employee handbook, are they able to export it or print out the org chart?
So right now, no, we're actually hopefully coming out with another print feature within the next couple months. So keep your eye out for that. That's something we've definitely heard from people in the first iteration. So we're super excited to start bringing something in like that. But what I will say is, like, with the fact that you can enable this in the workforce application for your employees and through that, workforce web experience, we really would focus on, hey, why don't you just do it there? And we do know that printing and exporting is so important, and we do want to support that as well. But in the meantime, I think really leveraging, hey, making sure your employees have it on hand all the time within their workforce experience is a really great way to get the similar value.
Perfect. Thanks, Annie. Well, I see that you posted a knowledge-based article here, and just a friendly reminder to please download the handout so that you can see the slides that Annie presented. Any other resources that you may want to flag for the audience?
Yeah, so now the KB article, or the knowledge-based article, is a really great place to start. But again, this is live if you have QuickBooks Online Payroll. So feel free to just jump in, play around, get to know the experience, and talk to your clients if it's something that would be useful to them. But a really good thing to learn hands-on. So feel free to check it out.
Awesome. Well, Annie, thanks so much for joining us on the show. We will now invite back our friend Keith to present on shipping labels. So Keith, if you can go ahead and share your screen.
Yes, definitely can. Thank you for having me back. All right, let me share my screen here. Sorry, I lost my Zoom link. Okay, and hopefully people can see my screen. If not, you should be able to zoom in your Zoom window itself, and then hopefully everyone can access the slides. Okay, so everyone knows me at this point. The second topic that we're going to go into today is actually on shipping solutions. So I know this might be a new domain for most of you, and I am curious. So in the poll here, you'll see it come up. I'd like to know how often, if at all, do you advise clients on shipping solutions? This could be on shipping costs, analysis of carriers to use, other methods that maybe they're looking at for a business. And yeah, I'm curious to see how you and your firm handle these types of operational tasks.
Keith, as folks are answering the poll, do you have an example or a story you could share of when you've seen an accountant help their client with shipping?
Yeah, I think it is something that we've started to see more of. And it's still a pretty niche offering, but as we've seen more accountants and firms get really deep into the inventory space, uh, shipping is actually one of the biggest costs that they find within a business.
Hmm.
So I think as we were talking to a few and we were starting to launch this product, one of them brought up a really good example of where they were actually losing money. So they offered free shipping to their clients. And what they found is that every time they offered free shipping, the cost of shipping that product and buying that label was actually losing the money. So I think that's really where someone with a good eye and actually understanding both sides of it, what you charge for shipping, the income, are you making enough to actually offer free shipping? These are huge, huge expenses for businesses. And I think something where you can actually add a lot of value is being able to break down these things, with your client, being able to understand, are they able to offer shipping for free, or what should they charge for shipping? And what are they actually making off of this? You have to break down the cost of these labels and packaging and all other things that go into it. But I think that's where we've seen the biggest impact is that there's a lot of cost savings to be had when you can break down the right carrier or the right shipping method.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. What a great example of business advisory. Well, it looks like your hunch was right, and 63% of the pro advisors do not advise clients on shipping. So back over.
Yeah, not not surprised, but I think it's good. I think it's good to validate. And as we grow more into the space and QuickBooks becomes a tool for other aspects of the business, we can definitely learn a lot more about other areas of business to advise on. So I will go into really what we've launched, because I think this is probably one of the most interesting things that we've done. Is we heard again talking around inventory in these product-based businesses. They really wanted to reduce operating costs. They wanted to improve their fulfillment efficiency, and they struggled to get orders out in time. And if you've worked with any of these clients, you know how tricky it is to sell on platforms. You really have to ship your products in a timely manner, and you're competing with an Amazon who's shipping things out same day or a day later. You're trying to run this business out of your house. You're having to go and find carriers and print labels. So what we did is we partnered with Ship Engine. We are providing users access to deeply discounted carrier rates directly within QBO. So Ship Engine themselves is a subsidiary of Octane. They have a wide network of carriers and rates. So what we've done is integrated with their services to allow us to be able to get access to carriers like USPS and be able to provide users the ability to not just see the rates themselves of what USPS carries and the different methods, but actually create, print, and get a label created for a particular invoice, all within QBO. So once they've done this, they either are going to be attaching it to an existing invoice or going from an invoice, and it'll pre-populate the shipping, all the information needed to create that. And then what they're required to do is enter in some of the dimensions, the weight. They will then be able to track and manage and get these labels created, send those out to the customers, and actually help them. One, it's reducing costs by getting access to preferred rates. And number two, it's taking away that laborious process of re-entering the same information you had on the invoice again into USPS directly or going into these types of platforms. So who can access this? This is available across all of the SKUs. So Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, Advanced. How you can get access to this is you are either going to be turning on the shipping setting. This can be found within the main overall settings of QBO under sales and shipping. Once you've done that, you will see access to it. The other way is you're going to be going in and there's kind of 3 entry points. So in the top navigation where you can create new types of transactions, you'll now see that shipping label is one of them. Or you would be finding this inside of an invoice. So if you're in an invoice, you'll also see the option to create a shipping label from the invoice itself. And then the final way, you'll see a new section under the Commerce tab in the left-hand navigation for shipping itself. So this is available to all US QBO accounts as of the 8th of July. So all of your clients will have access to it. Again, it's currently only available in the US and not yet rolled out to other regions of the world. So as I was saying, the first step that you're really going to be doing as someone setting this up is creating a Ship Engine account. And so Ship Engine is a shipping aggregator. What this will allow you to do is fund a wallet. The client will be putting in a certain amount of money that they will have in their Ship Engine wallet to buy shipping labels. This gives them access to deeply discounted rates on carriers like USPS. They can connect other carriers and they can add, if they've already had a UPS or FedEx account, they can connect those as well. But the setup is fairly straightforward and simple. They create the Ship Engine account. They don't need to do anything outside of really this step in funding your wallet. Then they're going to go into, again, either 2 ways. They're either going to be creating a shipment directly from an existing invoice, or they're going to be going and creating a shipment and then attaching it to an invoice. The next step you're going to be doing, we will take all the build to, the ship to information. They need to enter some package dimensions and a weight. Then we will fetch all of the rates that we have available. They'll be able to compare the rate, the best shipping speed, the option for the package that they're shipping, be able to compare the cost breakdown. And then from there, they can print and purchase the label. The label will be printed. They can affix that to their package, get the carrier to pick it up, and the invoice will be updated with the tracking number itself. So I will share my screen here and we will go through a bit of a demo of this feature as these are some new and exciting things for QBO. So I'll go a bit slow here as this video can be quite fast. But the first thing you'll see here as we go through is that in the plus new, there's a new option for shipping label. So again, there's multiple entry points, but one of them is you could go to the shipping label and then you can actually select from there an existing invoice. So from this drop down here, we would go through and we'd find our existing invoice. It would have all our from and to information populated. And then we have the package info below, which requires the length, the width, the depth, and the weight of the package itself. Second way that we can do this is we can go into the Commerce tab and we'll see the section for shipping. And same type of flow from here, just a different entry point. And then the third way is as you're creating the invoice itself, or you're editing an existing invoice that's already out to a customer, you can open up this invoice and you'll now see at the bottom that there is a create shipping label. Sorry, the video kind of blocks it there. And once they've created the shipping label itself, they enter in all these dimensions. We will now go and fetch the latest rates that we get from USPS. And again, the big benefit here, they're getting deeply discounted rates compared to going direct to USPS. They're also then comparing the best method that they want to actually ship the package out in. They compare those, they look at them, they select one. It'll confirm you that this is the label you're going to generate. And then we get here the nice USPS label itself that they would print out, affix to the package, get USPS to pick it up or drop it off. And that would be their entire flow. The invoice is then updated with that tracking number there. So ultimately they can send that off to the customer. The customers have the tracking and they get the package. All right. Awesome. Well, I think that gives us plenty of time now for back to Q&A.
Yeah, Keith, again, lots of excitement in the chat over this. Seems like it's a huge both time and cost saver for clients. There are some pretty detailed questions that came in. So I'm just going to throw them at you and we'll see how it goes. So the first is, would this be helpful for a client that drop ships from an out-of-state supplier? Do you happen to know?
Probably not. So most of the time, and what we've been building this for is not the drop shipping use case. The primary use case is that this would be something where it's shipping from your business itself versus shipping from someone else. But I think that's something that we have heard a little bit of as we've released this, and we want to learn more of how we could support that use case. So I think that's something we want to continue to follow up on, but it's not what we've really recommended or built this around. It's really meant for those that are shipping from the address that would be in their QBO account.
Sure.
And coming from there.
So hopping on that, would the business be able to ship to an international address if it's going directly from their business location?
Not yet. So there's a few things, and we can send out a knowledge base article that has some further detail on this. But one of them is that currently right now, and again, given USPS, it's really meant for domestic US packages that are going to be shipped. So these are other areas as we continue to launch, we'll expand and continue to look at. But it also requires carriers that also support international shipment. One of the biggest things that just for everyone to know that we'll need to support with international shipment, there becomes other declaration forms. There becomes a lot more requirements when it crosses borders, other types of forms and documents that need to be included to pay for duties. And yeah, you get outside the US, it gets a little bit more complicated.
Sure, makes sense. Okay, last question for you, Keith. Everyone likes a discount. So if you could tell us a little bit more about the discounted rates. Are these just for a single carrier, say USPS, or are the discounted rates across all of the different carriers?
It's a great question. So currently just with USPS, it depends on a number of factors, but the savings are up to 89%. So
Wow.
it's a huge cost saving, depending on the type of package and the type of shipping speed and what type of USPS delivery you're looking at. Those rates do fluctuate. But if you have a client that goes direct to USPS and prints a label, it's up to 89% cost saving for them. Currently, we only have those negotiated rates with USPS. But again, that's something we're looking at is how do we expand to additional carriers? But as of today and what's live, it's just the USPS. If they do bring in their own account, they would be bringing in their own UPS, FedEx account, and that wouldn't be under any additional discounts outside of what they had already had with those providers.
Got it. Well, sounds like there's lots, that this is a really exciting milestone and that there's more work on the roadmap ahead. So the audience should stay tuned. But thank you so much, Keith, for sharing. Really great. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
going to go ahead and
absolutely.
share my screen. If you bear with me one moment. Hang tight. Of course, I have it on, not the slide I needed to have. Bear with me. We'll wrap it up with resources for you and your team so that way you can continue learning and engaging with us even after we close today's program. Here we go. All right, getting there. I was so absorbed in the program. All right, let me go ahead and share now. My apologies. So we're on the additional resources section of the program. We went through the 3 product innovations. And what you're seeing here is our In the Know Hub. We launched this a few months back. And what you'll find on the hub is the ability to register for the webinar. So if anyone else on your team cares to join us monthly. And you'll also find our on-demand videos. So for a few months now, we've been creating bite-sized versions of the product updates you've been hearing on the show. It's simply a different way to engage with the program that you know and love, but on your own time. So if you want to revisit any of the updates, or if you learn something that's really relevant for yourself, your team, your clients, it's a great way to share those. So you can visit that Firm of the Future in the Know. It's under the Pro Advisor section. All right, so additional resources. We've got our In the Know Hub. We release 1 video episode weekly every Monday. Keep your eye out for that. Of course, lots of great resources for you on the Firm of the Future blog. And then finally, our Accountant University. We do trainings all the time. We have our certification trainings that happen every month. Just recently, we had a wonderful virtual conference on change management. So from time to time, you'll catch specialty programs, but we're always working to ensure that we're delivering the most up-to-date training for you and your team. So final plug, please do go ahead and download today's handout. You see the link there. You'll have access to the slides that were shared. So let me close with a final poll. This poll is something new that we'll be doing every program, and it just gives us a quick way to gauge how well you received the program, things that we can do better. So if you could give us a rating from 1 to 10, 10 being high, 1 being low, would love to hear how likely you are to recommend today's particular webinar. And we will not share out these results. So just go ahead and give us your honest feedback. We'll give it a few more secs. Awesome. As people are answering that, I'll give a quick plug for our video episodes. Something that I've heard some firm leaders and people managers doing is setting up an integration between YouTube and their Slack instance using Zapier or some other integration tool, such that anytime a video episode releases, it gets pushed into your team's Slack feed. That way it's kind of a no-brainer. You know, you have 10 minutes between calls, you can quickly get up to date on QuickBooks product updates. All right, great. I'll go ahead and close the poll. And let me end by saying thank you. We are so grateful for you spending your time with us. It's a joy every month to get to spend time with this audience. And we hope that you enjoyed the program. So with that, we'll see you later. We'll see you next month. Bye.